At 20 years old, most college athletes are genuinely happy just making the varsity roster and surviving the grueling season. But Hines and Zamesha Mile from High Point University didn't just survive, they just violently rewrote the collegiate record books in a single breathtaking weekend. At the massive 44 Farms Invite at Texas A&M, these two extraordinary athletes didn't just show up to compete, they arrived to utterly dominate. Hines absolutely shattered 3 lifetime personal bests in her very first heptathlon of the outdoor season, while Myle blazed through the sprint and jump events with jaw-dropping times that left rival coaches completely speechless. By the time the sun set on Sunday evening, both phenomenal young women had been officially crowned Big South Conference Athletes of the Week. But their spectacular journey to the absolute pinnacle of collegiate track and field started long before that fateful, blistering weekend in College Station, Texas. Historically, High Point University wasn't exactly known for producing elite, world-class sprinters. The Panthers had been quietly and meticulously building their track program from the ground up, aggressively recruiting uniquely talented athletes who might have been criminally overlooked by the massive, traditional powerhouse schools of the SEC or Big Ten. When Hines and Zamesha Mile first stepped foot on campus, they brought a raw, terrifying speed and a relentless, burning determination that would fundamentally and permanently transform the entire trajectory of the program. Hines came to High Point with a rigorous background in the punishing multi-events. The heptathlon is undeniably track and field's ultimate agonizing test of absolute versatility, requiring athletes to somehow excel across 7 completely different, highly technical disciplines over 2 relentlessly grueling days. Most seasoned athletes spend their entire careers just trying to perfect their technique in 1 or 2 of these events. Hines was mastering all 7 simultaneously. Zamesha Mile chose an entirely different, highly explosive path. She focused her laser-like attention on the blistering sprint events and the incredibly complex triple jump. It's a breathtaking discipline that seamlessly combines the raw, uncontrollable speed of a pure sprinter with the delicate, highly technical complexity of multiple perfect takeoffs and landings. It's a brutal event that mercilessly separates the genuinely good athletes from the all-time greats. Both phenomenal athletes had already shown massive promise in the high school ranks, but Division I college track and field operates in a completely different, unforgiving stratosphere. The weekend competition is ferociously fierce, and the margin for error is razor thin. Countless highly touted, promising high school stars completely burn out and fade away in their very first year of collegiate competition. But Hines and Myle were built completely different. They aggressively embraced the massive challenge and the utterly rigorous, exhausting training schedule that High Point's elite coaching staff demanded of them. They ruthlessly pushed each other in practice, creating a fiercely competitive, iron sharpens iron environment that massively elevated both athletes to entirely new levels. As the highly anticipated outdoor season progressed, both athletes began drastically dropping times and hitting spectacular marks that immediately caught the undivided attention of conference officials. But their ultimate, undeniable breakthrough moment came at the 44 Farms Invite at Texas A&M, universally recognized as one of the absolutely most competitive, high-stakes meets in the entire Southeast. The monumental world-class E.B. Cushing Stadium at Texas A&M is truly notorious among elite track athletes. The suffocating Texas heat and heavy humidity create incredibly challenging, draining conditions, and the competition field typically includes fully funded, Olympic-bound athletes from massive major programs across the entire region. Stepping onto this specific track was the ultimate test to prove they belonged shoulder to shoulder with the absolute best in the nation. Hines entered the sprawling stadium knowing this would be her absolutely critical first heptathlon of the season. The psychological pressure was truly immense. In the multi-events, one single bad performance, one slipped block or foul jump can completely derail the entire 2-day competition. Athletes need to somehow maintain flawless consistency across all 7 events while violently battling compounding physical fatigue and intense mental stress. Hines stepped into the starting blocks knowing she desperately needed a powerful, flawless start to build massive momentum for the remaining gauntlet of events. When the starter's gun cracked, she exploded from the blocks with terrifying speed and picture-perfect technique, violently attacking the barriers. She crossed the finish line in a spectacular 14.45 seconds, a massive new personal best that instantly and loudly announced her undeniable presence to the entire elite competition field. The highly technical high jump came next, where Hines beautifully cleared 1.78 meters, securing yet another stunning personal record that legitimately had her own coaching staff shaking their heads in absolute awe and disbelief. Transitioning to the heavy throws, Hines confidently launched the shot put an impressive 10.81 meters, a fiercely solid, competitive mark that perfectly kept her firmly in contention for a highly coveted top finish. But it was the blistering 200-meter dash that truly undeniably showcased her rapidly emerging, terrifying pure speed. Running the steep curve under the blazing Texas sun, Hines somehow found a massive hidden gear that had been lurking beneath the surface all season long. She violently powered through the home stretch and crossed the line in a blazing 24.97 seconds, miraculously marking her third massive personal best of the single day. Day 2 of the heptathlon mercilessly tests an elite athlete's sheer willpower to perform at world-class levels when their battered body is literally screaming for rest. Hines returned to the world-class facility with heavily sore muscles but incredibly high, unshakable expectations. She hit the long jump runway with massive speed, soaring a beautiful 5.37 meters through the thick, humid Texas air. Following a highly technical javelin throw of 26.35 meters that perfectly maintained her elite overall standing, absolutely everything came down to the ultimate, agonizing final event, the dreaded 800 meters. Hines lined up knowing her massive overall score depended entirely on surviving this final, lactic acid-filled nightmare. She ran a gritty, determined 2 minutes 27.26 seconds, completing a spectacular heptathlon total of 5,141 points, a score that secured a top 10 finish in an elite field and firmly etched her name into the Big South history books. While Hines was fiercely battling through her 7-event war, Zamesha Mile was making her own deafening, undeniable statement in the explosive sprint events and the jump pit. Stepping into the 100-meter dash, a razor-thin battlefield where the slightest flinch or misstep costs you absolutely everything, Mile refused to blink. She exploded violently from the blocks, separating from the elite pack to hit the finish line in a blistering 11.65 seconds, a truly elite time that would have easily won almost any other college meet across the entire country. Transitioning to the 200 meters, Myle expertly navigated the tricky turn with flawless precision. She hit the vital home stretch and absolutely powered through the finish line in an incredible 23.96 seconds. Her initial hop phase was incredibly powerful. Her critical step phase maintained absolute perfect balance, and her final violent jump launched her a staggering 12.91 meters deep into the sand. That spectacular, elite mark was good enough to secure an incredible third place in a massive field utterly loaded with heavily established, blue-chip college stars. This massive, highly publicized recognition marked a permanent, undeniable turning point for High Point University's entire track and field program. For Hines and Myle, however, these prestigious awards were just the absolute beginning of their reign. Their truly historic, record-shattering success at the 44 Farms Invite had permanently and undeniably established them as the absolute new sprint queens of the Big South. The entire collegiate track and field community took serious, undeniable notice of the absolute masterclass that happened that fateful weekend at E.B. Cushing Stadium, proving definitively that these two incredible athletes have finally, truly arrived.